Stop and contemplate the great silent gates of wealth that seem to stand barred against the masses of humanity. You have observed, perhaps with a touch of bitterness or a heavy heart, the sharp contrast between the man who dwells in the shadow of penury and the man who commands an empire of opulence. You have been told by the unthinking multitudes that the difference between these two men is a matter of luck, of birthright, or of some unscrupulous advantage taken in the dark of night. You see the titan of industry in his fine wool coat stepping into his gleaming motor car, and you wonder what secret incantation he possesses that has caused the world to yield its treasures to him while you remain in a perpetual struggle for the mere necessities of existence. You are here because you have spent your years chasing the shadow of wealth rather than the substance. You have been laboring under the back-breaking delusion that money is something to be gotten rather than something that is attracted. You have exhausted your physical strength and your nervous energy in a desperate pursuit of the dollar, yet it seems to flee from you the faster you run. What you are about to find out is that financial freedom is not a destination reached by a map of physical toil. It is a state of being dictated by an immutable cosmic law. There is a master key that unlocks every door to every counting house in the world, and that key does not reside in a bank vault or a lawyer's safe. It resides within the unused chambers of your own mind. I am bringing this to your attention with the directness of a creditor because you have been trying to build a fortune on a foundation of shifting sand. You have been seeking the effect without ever mastering the cause. Today, I am going to place into your hands the silver key of mental discipline. I am going to show you that the accumulation of wealth is a systematic scientific process that responds to the application of specific principles with the same certainty that a chemical reaction responds to a catalyst. We are going to strip away the superstitions of the unlucky and expose the cold, brilliant logic of the self-made man. The great tragedy of the modern age is the scarcity consciousness. Most men and women walk through the world with their hands held out in a gesture of begging, unaware that they are standing in the middle of a vast golden river of opportunity. They believe that wealth is a limited resource, a pie of a fixed size, and that if one man has a large slice, another must go hungry. This is the thinking of the drifter, the man who has no definite chief aim and who allows his mind to be colonized by the fears of the herd. The master key to financial freedom is the realization that money is a result. It is the physical evidence of a mental vibration. To change the amount of money in your pockets, you must first change the quality of the service you render and the intensity of the desire you hold. The universe does not reward need, it rewards value. The master key is the absolute control of your own mental attitude, which allows you to align yourself with the law of compensation. You must understand the law of compensation in its most primitive and powerful form. This law, as Ralph Waldo Emerson so eloquently stated, dictates that your income will always be in direct proportion to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. The master key allows you to manipulate these three variables at will. Most people focus only on the first variable, the need, and they complain when the world doesn't pay them more for doing a task that 1,000 other men could do just as well. The man who possesses the master key focuses his entire being on the second and third variables, his ability and his indispensability. You are here because you have reached the limits of hard work as defined by the laboring classes. If hard work alone were the secret to wealth, the man who digs the ditches would be the wealthiest man in the village, and the man who manages the steel mill would be the poorest. But the world does not pay for the sweat of your brow. It pays for the specialized knowledge you apply and the organized effort you direct. Financial freedom is the prize given to the man who stops being a beast of burden and starts being a master of mind. The first notch on the master key is definiteness of purpose. Most people, when asked what they want, will reply with the vague generality of, "I want to be rich." This is as useless as telling a ship's captain that you wish to go to sea. To activate the forces of your subconscious mind and to command the resources of infinite intelligence, you must have a specific, written blueprint. You must decide on a definite amount of money, down to the last penny, and you must set a definite date for its attainment. But more importantly, and this is where the something-for-nothing crowd falters, you must decide exactly what you intend to give in exchange for this wealth. There is no such thing as a free lunch in the cosmic economy. If you wish to receive $1,000,000, you must render $1,000,000 worth of service or provide $1,000,000 worth of value to your fellow man. The master key is not a tool for theft. It is a tool for the transmutation of ideas into gold. You are here because you have been wandering in the woods of generalities. You have been wishing for wealth instead of planning for it. What you are about to find out is that a plan, even a poor one, is infinitely more powerful than 1,000 wishes. A plan gives your mind a track to run on. It eliminates the friction of indecision. When you have a definite chief aim, your subconscious mind begins to act as a magnet, attracting to you the people, the opportunities, and the hunches required to bring that aim into physical reality. The second notch on the master key is the formation of a mastermind alliance. No man has ever achieved permanent financial freedom through his own unaided efforts. The great industrialists, Carnegie, Ford, Rockefeller, all understood that their own individual brains were insufficient to the task of building an empire. They sought out other men whose specialized knowledge and temperaments complemented their own. A mastermind is the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of perfect harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. When two minds join together, they create a third mind, an invisible, intangible force that is greater than the sum of its parts. It is through this master mind that you gain access to the accumulated wisdom of the ages. It allows you to borrow the eyes, the ears, and the experience of others to accelerate your own rise. If you are trying to win the battle of life as a lone wolf, you are choosing the most difficult and least certain path to wealth. Image: 3 men in suits sitting around a heavy oak table, a single lamp illuminating a blueprint between them. Consider the case of Henry Ford. In his early years, Mr. Ford was hampered by a lack of formal education and a lack of capital. He was even labeled an ignorant pacifist by the newspapers of the day. But Mr. Ford possessed the master key. He surrounded himself with men of high intellect and specialized skill. He knew how to blend their minds into a singular driving force. He did not need to know how to build every part of the motor car himself. He only needed to know how to direct the mastermind that did know. His wealth was not a product of his hands, but a product of his ability to organize the mental capital of his associates. The third notch on the master key is applied faith. This is not the passive faith of the Sunday pew. This is the aggressive, dynamic faith of the pioneer. It is the ability to see the invisible and to believe in the impossible until it becomes a physical fact. To achieve financial freedom, you must have a money consciousness that is so strong it allows you to walk through the darkest days of failure without wavering. Most people fail because they allow their physical senses to dictate their reality. They look at their empty bank account, they look at their meager surroundings, and they conclude, "I am poor." By accepting this as a fact, they order more poverty from their subconscious mind. The man who holds the master key looks at the same empty bank account and says, "This is merely a temporary state of transition. I am a man of wealth, and the gold is even now on its way to me." He lives in the feeling of the success he has not yet seen. He uses the power of autosuggestion to rewrite the internal blueprint of his life until his subconscious mind accepts wealth as the only natural state of being. You are here because you have been a slave to the evidence of your eyes. You have allowed the panic of the day to steal your vision of the future. What you are about to find out is that your mind is the only thing over which you have absolute, unquestionable control. If you do not use that control to create a wealth consciousness, the world will use its influence to create a poverty consciousness within you. There is no neutral ground. You are either the master of your mental attitude or you are its victim. The fourth notch on the master key is the habit of doing more than paid for. This is the secret that separates the leader from the follower. In every office, in every factory, and in every trade, you will find the clock watcher, the man who does exactly what is required of him and not a penny's worth more. He believes he is being shrewd by not giving his employer free labor. In reality, he is a fool who is sabotaging his own future. When you render more service and better service than that for which you are paid, you are utilizing the law of increasing returns. You are placing the world in your debt. You are creating a credit balance in the bank of life that must, by law, be paid back to you with interest. Furthermore, the habit of going the extra mile develops within you a level of skill, a strength of character, and a reputation for excellence that makes you indispensable. The world is always looking for the man who does more than he is asked. Such a man does not have to seek wealth. Wealth seeks him. Now, we must discuss the guardians of the gate, the 7 basic fears that prevent most men from ever turning the master key. The most virulent of these is the fear of poverty. It is a paralyzing emotion that destroys the faculty of reason, kills the imagination, and blasts the hope of achievement. The fear of poverty is a negative vibration that acts as a wall between you and infinite intelligence. It causes you to play it safe, to hoard what little you have, and to avoid the very risks that are required for growth. You cannot attract wealth while you are terrified of its absence. To use the master key, you must first reach a state of mind where you have burned the bridges behind you. You must decide that you would rather die in the pursuit of your definite chief aim than live another year in the safety of a mediocre existence. You must divorce yourself from the possibility of failure. Image: a man standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out over a vast golden valley, a bridge burning in the background. Think of the psychological transmutation required for financial freedom. You must take the raw energy of your desires, even the lower desires for physical comfort and recognition, and transmute them into a singular obsession for service and value. Think of a man like Andrew Carnegie. He began as a poor immigrant, working for pennies a day, but he did not have a pauper's mind. He spent his meager earnings on books and education. He observed the titans of the railway and the telegraph. He identified the needs of a growing nation. He formed a mastermind with men who understood the chemistry of steel. He did not wait for luck to find him. He created a vibration of success so powerful that it drew the entire steel industry into his hands. He understood that wealth is a mental attitude before it is a physical possession. Compare this to the drifter who blames the system. Let us call him Arthur. Arthur is a man of fair ability, but Arthur is a bargain hunter of life. He wants financial freedom, but he refuses to pay the price of specialized study. He wants to be a leader, but he refuses to take the responsibility of decision. He spends his evenings in the shadowland of idle amusement, complaining to his fellow drifters about the unfairness of the capitalists. Arthur believes that the master key is held by a secret society to which he does not belong. He does not realize that the key is sitting on the table in front of him, covered in the dust of his own neglect. Arthur is not poor because of the system. Arthur is poor because he has chosen the path of least resistance, and that path always leads to the bottom. So, how do you take possession of this master key? How do you begin the process of financial transmutation today? It requires a total, ruthless mental reorganization. First, you must determine the exact amount of wealth you desire. Do not be timid. The universe has no favorite children. It will give you exactly what you have the capacity to claim. Write this number down. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in exchange. What service will you render? What product will you create? How will you make the world better, faster, or more beautiful? There is no something for nothing. You must be a value creator before you can be a wealth possessor. Third, establish a definite date by which you intend to possess this wealth. Time is the canvas upon which you paint your destiny. Without a deadline, your goal is merely a daydream. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Do not wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is a phantom that haunts the mind of the procrastinator. Start where you stand, with whatever tools you have, and better tools will be found as you move along. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount, the date, the exchange, and the plan. This is your order form to infinite intelligence. Sixth, read your written statement aloud, twice daily, once just before retiring at night, and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see, and feel, and believe yourself already in possession of the money. This is the act of enforced autosuggestion. You are drilling the idea of wealth into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind until it takes root and begins to grow of its own accord. Seventh, form your mastermind alliance. Seek out those who have the specialized knowledge you lack. Seek out those who share your spirit of harmony. Do not try to be the smartest man in the room. Be the man who organizes the smartest room. Finally, you must maintain a state of persistent application. The road to financial freedom is littered with the half-finished works of men who lack the grit to see it through. Persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. You will face temporary defeats. You will face the mockery of the small-minded. You will face the silence of the universe. These are merely tests to see if you have the spiritual muscle to handle the wealth you seek. If you do not yield, the world must eventually yield to you. The master key to financial freedom is not a secret hidden in an ancient tomb. It is a set of principles that are as old as the hills and as reliable as the tides. It is the realization that your mind is the only sovereign power. You can use that power to create a prison of poverty, or you can use it to create a palace of abundance. The wealthy man is not different from the poor man in his biology. He is different in his mental chemistry. Intelligence is a gift of the Creator, but self-mastery is the task of the individual. You must become the general of your own thoughts. You must police your mind against the intruders of doubt, fear, and indecision. You must cultivate the garden of your soul with the seeds of definite purpose and applied faith. As you conclude this message, I want you to look around your current surroundings. Look at your bank balance. Look at the quality of your clothes and the state of your home. And then, I want you to realize that everything you see is a mental harvest. It is the result of the thoughts you have planted over the last 5, 10, or 20 years. If you do not like the harvest, you must stop complaining about the soil and start changing the seed. You are here because you have finally recognized that the old way of struggling is a failure. You are ready to stop being a drifter and start being a master. The master key is in your hand. The gates are before you. The invisible invoice of your life is ready to be paid in full. Will you continue to stand outside, shivering in the cold of what if? Or will you turn the key, walk through the gates, and take possession of the opulence that has been waiting for you since the beginning of time? Design your destiny. Or the world will design a life of lack for you. The key is yours. Use it.